Every Friday on the Happy Families podcast, we review the week that was, what worked, what didn't, how we can be better parents. So glad you could join us for today's Friday edition of the Happy Families podcast, where we share real parenting solutions every day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. And Kylie, you're kicking us off today with a story about our 15-year-old daughter.
I can't believe you dobbed her in.
Oh, you weren't going to say who it was?
I wasn't going to say who she was.
Okay. And Kylie, you're sharing a story today about one of our 6 daughters. Which one? Oh, no, we won't say.
A few nights ago,
Right.
we decided that we needed to revisit some of the house rules.
Sorry,
with
Lily.
this particular child.
Right.
I can't believe you just named her.
Well, we're already there now. Carry on.
Holy smokes.
What happened? Was I there or was I
You
traveling?
were there.
I was there. Okay.
You were there.
Yep.
And she knew that it was coming. So she was already feeling a little bit heightened and she wanted to justify her behaviour. And as we got talking, she came out with a doozy and she said, "Remember, Mum, we had that conversation last year, a whole year ago, last year when I told you that you ignore me and Annie's your favourite." And after a pretty emotional day that I'd had, I was not prepared to have that conversation. And I looked at you and I said, "I'm leaving. You can deal with this. I'm not dealing with this right now." And I left the room. Well, after I had gone, I was thinking about how I dealt with this. Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I don't remember this conversation. Was I even there? I know that you said that you left her with me. Did I talk to her after this?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Did I have a good conversation with her?
I don't know.
I have no recollection. I have been pretty wiped out. I've been doing so much travel and so many speaking engagements, but I'm genuinely, I don't remember it. Anyway, you took some time out. You came back. Apparently, I don't recall.
Well, no, I
any of
didn't
this.
come back. It took me a few days.
Oh, okay.
I was really, really frustrated. When you're doing the very best you can do and somebody tells you you're not doing enough,
Yeah.
it feels like an absolute personal
I'm
attack
so glad it wasn't me that said it.
at your integrity and just your very being. Like, so here I have this child who takes so much of my time. And after yesterday's conversation all about favoritism, my child was essentially telling me I had a favorite and it wasn't her. And I felt really attacked. And so it took me a few days as I sat in that place and kind of was mulling over everything. And I clearly recognized that I hadn't handled the situation very well. And that in that moment when she was trying to express how she was feeling, I had actually turned it into something that about me, as opposed to being able to sit in her hard place and hear her and allow her to share her feelings without taking it personally. So a few days later, we were doing some work in her room. She's been waiting to have a bookshelf hung. I hung a bookshelf.
And it's still hanging.
And it's still hanging
if it had been
with
me,
books on it.
If it had been me, it would never have been hung in the first place, but it certainly would be on the floor by now.
So we were spending a bit of time decorating her room and spending time just, having a bit of a chat. And it occurred to me that now was probably a really good time to reconnect with that conversation. And so I just suggested to her that the other day she tried to share some really important and big emotions with me, and I didn't have the capacity to hear her the way that she needed to be heard. And I said, one of the things that I've struggled with in the past is often when I have tried to share my big emotions with important people in my lives, they've made it about them. And in that moment, I made it about me. And I apologized to her. And I just said to her that I really wanted her to know that even though as a parent, sometimes it's really hard to hear and have the mirror turned on yourself and recognize the parts of you that you'd prefer not to have to look at, that it gives us an opportunity to learn and grow together. And it was just this beautiful moment of connection. She was completely, I think, shocked, number one, that I was able to revisit it, but that I was able to acknowledge my mistake in that moment, my weakness, my inability in that moment to connect with her in the way that she needed to be connected with. And it was just this moment of realness that we got to share together, and I was so grateful for it. She came and gave me a really big hug, and we were able to have this beautiful conversation that flowed from that, just because I was willing to apologize.
So when you look at that, what would you say is the take-home message of the conversations that you had with her?
That you don't remember being a part of?
No, they were clearly quite challenging.
The hardest thing as a parent is sitting in a place when your child is having big emotions that, generally speaking, are pointed directly at you. It's really easy to take it personally. But it really is an opportunity for us to actually connect more deeply with our child. The very fact that she felt comfortable and safe to share that with me specifically in that moment speaks volumes about her desire for deeper connection, but her trust that I'm a safe place for her to share that. And the biggest challenge we have as parents is in honouring them and their emotions.
Yeah, trust, believing that the other person's going to act in your best interests.
Yeah.
Really hard to get your kids to really believe that sometimes. So important. Okay, Kylie, this is my I'll Do Better tomorrow. We had a family meeting it was back on Sunday now. It feels like forever ago. And I've been traveling a lot. You've been under the pump, and you've been complaining to me a lot about our children. They don't pull their own weight. They don't pull anyone else's weight either. You're pulling the whole family. You're keeping the family afloat while I'm out and working and helping everybody else to have a happy family. And so we sat down and we said, we're not going to talk about what's going well, what's not, and what we can focus on this week. We're just going to get back to a couple of foundational basics. So I looked at the kids and said to them, what do you want our family to feel like? And instantly the walls went up. So when we talk about these family meetings, sometimes people think, oh, we just must have these glorious conversations where the kids sit around and smile and we talk about what's good and what's not so good. And we figure it was challenging. It was confrontational. And we had a couple of kids in particular who were reluctant to participate, might be an understatement.
Well, there was contention between them, which meant that their reluctance to participate was heightened.
And whenever one of them tried to participate, the other one would go, whatever, roll their eyes. I'm like, oh my goodness, so much contempt. It's just terrible. So eventually one of the kids refused to say what she wanted the family to feel like. And you stepped in and said, well, rather than using words to describe what I want the family to feel like, maybe I can paint a picture. And so you talked about what matters to you, sitting around the table playing games and telling jokes and having fun. And I talked about being a little bit more physically active and wrestling and playing and going to the beach. And I said, so there's words like we want kindness, or there's word pictures like we've just described. And eventually, it took us way too long. I reckon 20 minutes, maybe 30. And finally, she began to participate. And we really started to put together some ideas about how we can work together as a team to make our family function better. It was great. Then we stepped into part 2. I want the kids to do hard things. I believe that doing hard things is necessary so that you can enjoy life and feel happy about life. And it was about that point that you fell asleep on the couch.
Hey, I'm just saying.
In the middle of our family meeting.
For
mouth
4
open,
years,
head back.
4 years, this was you. You used to fall asleep all the time. And I would run the meetings.
The meetings?
But now you're running the meetings.
Are supposed to go for 10 to 20 minutes.
You can't do anything in 10 or 20 minutes.
Because the kids are just such hard work. Oh, my goodness. So you're snoring on the couch with your mouth open and your head tilted back. The kids are like, we don't want to do anything hard. I'm like, no, you've got to do hard things. Look, we're doing hard things all the time in our family. Mum and I, and then you're asleep. And I'm like, your mum's trying to do a hard thing by getting through this meeting. So we finally got that part done. I said, all right, we need to talk about contribution. We've had this sort of, we've gone through periods over the years of having a chore chart, not having a chore chart. And we certainly don't do rewards and things, but just having, do we let people just pick their responsibilities on a day-to-day basis and invite them to contribute to the house wherever they can? Or do we have specified tasks? The last 6 to 9 months, we've had just help out. And nobody's doing anything. You and I are doing all of it. I shouldn't say they're doing stuff, but they're not
It's very sporadic.
We're not getting what we need. And so I pulled out the old chore charts and I said, all right, let's make a list. Let's make a list. And you woke up for this. Let's make a list of every chore that needs to be done.
I think I was woken.
We wrote down the chores, and then I said, who's going to volunteer for what? And within about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there was a lot of toing and froing. The kids had essentially said, yep, got it. We're onto it. We can do the chores. And I decided that I was going to be creative because we do have some challenges with the kids and their chores. So I jumped into my AI and said, I need some fun names for the chores that the kids are going to be doing. I just feel like with these jobs that they're doing, if we just say dishes, that's boring. So let me share these with you. I think they're really, really fun. They're cheesy, but they're fun, and the kids seem to be buying it. First off, Annie is going to be doing the folding, but we're calling that garment geometry. And all the kids have to reset their rooms. That's what we're calling it. It's a room reset. The one daughter who wasn't there, we gave her the job of dusting. She's the dust bunny. Although the following day when I told her she was the dust bunny, she said, I don't have time. I'm just helping out where I can, when I can. And we have the clothesline command center and the puppy restaurant manager. And my favorite for Miss Emily, she is the waste witch, and she loves it.
When you put it into AI, it actually came up with the waste wizard. And she was like, oh, that sounds awesome. Actually, can I be a waste witch?
And I was like, you can be whatever you want, so long as you empty the bins. I don't care. So she's the waste witch, and she's also the dining surface superhero, and she goes on plate patrol every day as well. It's working.
She's been amazing.
Yeah, we're only a week in. She's like, I just want to get it done so I can tick all of these boxes. So good. The other kids are doing it. They're doing it without complaint. We're a week in. They're also being kind to each other. The family meeting is, I'm going to say it's working. We'll sit down again on Sunday and we'll talk about how well it's gone, and we'll do our normal 3 questions. What's going well, what's not, and what can we work on? But generally speaking, at this point, I'm pretty satisfied that the kids are having a good crack.
The real magic of family meetings isn't the one-off. It's the consistency. It's the week in, week out, meeting together and holding everybody accountable for the things that we've agreed upon the previous week. That's where the magic comes.
We really hope that there's some inspo here, either in apologising to your kids and having the big conversations, or having the family meetings, getting stuff nailed down, recognizing that sometimes you do have to push through. You do have to do the hard stuff. That's the reality of family life, but it's worth it when you get there, we promise. Thanks so much for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. And if you'd like more information about making your family happier, visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.